Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very, very much for joining me on another presentation of the Revolutionary Thinkers podcast. I greatly appreciate it. I am your host, producer, and creator, Joseph X. And before we get into tonight's dialogue, talking about the antidote for the inferiority complex, uh, I want to let you guys know that I am now on YouTube as Joseph Isaiah Israel, and I'm going to start uh, broadcasting not only here on the book, but I'm also going to start putting up my videos on YouTube. So when I get finished um, recording, because I'm recording here on YouTube, and also I'm getting ready, and I'm uh, uh, recording a video for YouTube. So just in case any of you guys get a chance to miss, uh, rather you miss an episode, don't worry about it. It's going to be on Facebook and also my YouTube channel. And ladies, I thank you all for the compliment. I haven't been feeling handsome, especially with this blasted flu, but I'm feeling much better, and I am honored to have you all come back. Brother Overton, right, good evening to you. Thank you very, very much for joining me as well. So I'm going to be broadcasting more so on YouTube, and hopefully one day I'll be able to live stream on both Facebook and YouTube. So the more the merrier with me. So let's see, and I'm also on Anchor.fm. I gotta uh, put some more material on so many platforms as well, not just here on Facebook and now YouTube, but Anchor.fm and other platforms as well. So once again, my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for you all joining me tonight. Once again, my thesis, my topic tonight is the antidote for the inferiority complex. And as you all know, I am a Jew, formerly a missionary Baptist preacher, and I'm going to try to incorporate the passages of scriptures that I was taught, have been taught um, from other Hebrew Israelite brethren. One in particular, Brother Roosevelt Brown, who is all the way in Portland, Oregon. Great teacher. Have the utmost respect for him. Miss Yvette, good evening to you, my dear. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. So I'm going to try my best to calm the cursing down. You listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Um, some, I think I have the mind of St. Paul or a scholar. I have the heart of a saint. And unfortunately, I have inherited the foul mouth of Peter, but I am working on becoming one who uses profanity less and less, especially if I'm going to be using this book. And I don't want to chase anybody away. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and get started. The antidote, ladies and gentlemen, for the inferiority complex. Now you're wondering, Brother Yosef, why in the world did you select a subject of this magnitude? The antidote, the cure for the inferiority complex, aka a low self-esteem. Sister Yvette, thank you very much for your compliment. I do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really not complicated at all as to why I selected to talk about this this subject. The reason why I wanted to talk about this subject was simply because people suffers from an inferiority complex. They suffer from low self-esteem. Even I myself growing up, I grew up with an inferiority complex. I grew up having severe self-esteem issues as well. And it wasn't until I stumbled upon the reality that I am not the opinion of other people. I never have been, I never will be the opinion of other people unless I give that opinion the power to come to life. And so there may be somebody that you know that is suffering or has suffered from low self-esteem, uh, an inferiority complex, or perhaps they may still be suffering from an inferiority complex. My task tonight is to simply try to get you to see and look at yourself differently from the way you have been conditioned to look at yourself. And I'm going to share with you, like I've always been sharing with you, that we who are melanated brothers and sisters, we are the original life in the universe. And I can prove it to you right from this book. From Genesis chapter 2 and the 7th verse, you'll find these words. And the Most High formed man of the dust of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So since we are the original life in the universe, according to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, when we were formed from the dust of the ground, what color is the dust? It doggone sure isn't white as this shirt and this tie. Dust. We are the original life in the universe. And in that passage of scripture, I just presented to you Mendelian's law. Mendelian's law is what I just presented to you. Miss Crystal Johnson and Mr. Joshua Walsh, very pleasant good evening to the both of you. Thank you for joining me here tonight. For those of you that are just joining me, I welcome you to another presentation of the Revolutionary Thinkers Podcast. I'm your host, producer. I do apologize. Welcome to another presentation of the Revolutionary Thinkers Podcast. I'm your host, producer, and creator, Yosef X. And tonight's topic of discussion is the cure for the inferiority complex. And I just got through reading a passage of scripture where it tells us that we are the original life in the universe. Genesis chapter 2 and the 7th verse. And not only are we the original life in the universe, I just presented to you Mendelian's law in the Bible. Now, Mendelian's law is a scientific law that tells us dark skin is the dominant and light skin is recessive. And another reason why I wanted to talk about the cure, the antidote for the inferiority complex is because too many of us, we hate our own melanin. We hate our own skin. Mr. Melvin Belk and the lovely Miss Rhonda. Good evening to the both of you. Thank you very much for joining me. And listen, there is a deep hatred within us collectively, not individually, but collectively, because you're hearing reports and you're hearing stories as to how our melanated brothers and sisters are bleaching their skin, subtracting and taking away their natural melanin. Our melanin, ladies and gentlemen, is beautiful. And it's more than beautiful. It protects us from various diseases. It protects us from various disorders. And for anybody, I don't care who they are, for anybody to want to bleach their skin, for anybody that wants to destroy their melanin, ladies and gentlemen, that is a form of low self-esteem, better known as self-sabotage. Look around. Look at, just listen and look around at the very stories, right? The very same stories that you've been hearing and seeing on your timeline, on social media, here on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, bleaching their skin and all this kind of thing, right? That, ladies and gentlemen, is self-sabotage. Black is not ugly. Black is beautiful, baby. I'm going to say it again. Black is beautiful, baby. It is not ugly. Black is pretty. Melanin is beautiful. Melanin is gorgeous. And we are the original life in this world. Now, you're going to have some self-hating Negroes saying that I'm colorblind. I don't see color. Well, you idiot. If you don't see color, if you're colorblind, use a new fool. Because this entire country, as long as it has been in existence, has always hated us. And it still does to this very day. We're hated not only in this country, but we're also hated all across this world. Plain, pure, and simple. My boy Sherwin, good evening to you, man. Thank you for joining me tonight. Brother Jawan, thanks for tuning in, man. Greatly appreciate it. I see what you're doing, man. I respect it. I respect your efforts to try to wake up our people, man. I greatly appreciate you for tuning in. And see, let me just say this also. You know what I find? To be a strange paradox? I tell you what I find to be a very strange paradox. How is it that people can believe in the Most High, right? A supreme being that you've never laid eyes on before physically, right? You have all the confidence in the world in him, but yet you don't have any confidence in yourself. Isn't that a paradox? Now, that's just me speaking now. That's just me. That's just me. It's a paradox. It's strange to me, right? That people talk about having all the faith and having all the confidence in the world, in the Most High, but yet you don't believe in yourself. Please explain to me, ladies and gentlemen, how in the world does that work? I'll wait. I'll wait. I just find it so strange. I find it such a paradox. Men and women got all the confidence in the Most High, but they don't believe in themselves. Please explain to me the very the logic behind all that. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it one bit. I don't get it at all. Oh, my boy, brother Dawa is on his other page. Man, you know what? These cats here on Facebook, they give some people the worst headache and the worst blues ever. You know, all because we're spreading the truth about ourselves. See? And listen, I'm going to bring up a very simple yet sensitive subject matter. Y'all probably ain't going to like it, but I'm going to tell you like it is. Sisters, let me explain something to y'all. And the brothers too, but I want to address the sisters first. I, for one, right, am a man that believes in your purest form when you are not belligerent and when you're not nasty and when you're not disrespectful, in your purest form. Out of every single woman in the world, you are the very best that the Most High has to offer. You are. And for you to wearing all these blonde weaves and dyeing your hair blonde, looking like the racist Caucasians, that's self-sabotage, baby. It is. That is self-sabotage. Why are you trying to look like somebody else when you need to embrace your natural beauty? You are naturally beautiful. You are still the envy, the very envy. You are the very envy of every other nationality walking the face of this earth. In your purest form, when you're not nasty and belligerent and disrespectful, you are the very best. Let's see, brother Jawan says, gotta believe in yourself. The kingdom is within. That's Bible, kids. That's Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed it is. And he's right. He's right. He's right. And see, I'm gonna give you guys another example of self-sabotage. Did you all see the recent pictures or the recent video of an actor by the name of Billy Porter? Now here's this guy that is wearing a green dress. And not only is he wearing a green dress, this guy has tattoos of butterflies all over his body. Y'all notice that? Listen, that is a form of self-sabotage. That is also low self-esteem, in my view, and in my honest opinion. Because I am of the opinion that the only thing feminine about a man should be his wife. And the only thing masculine about a woman should be her husband. I still stand by that. Those are my principles. Those are my beliefs. I stand by that. I stand by that. And I absolutely make no apologies for it at all. And once again, mind you, this is all an attack on masculine men because they're trying to do away with masculinity altogether. And we are foolish enough to fall for that okie doke, to fall for that nonsense, to fall for that foolery, that chicanery, that nonsense. It's sickening. It's appalling. And so whenever you find somebody who will not listen to reason, who will not adhere to the truth about themselves, and see, when a person suffers from the inferiority complex, low self-esteem, they don't have knowledge of self. They do not have knowledge of self at all. My brother Maurice, good evening to you, sir. Thank you very, very much for joining me. And because people who suffer low self-esteem, that means they don't have knowledge of self. They have knowledge of everything and everybody else, but they do not have knowledge of self. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. See, let me tell you something else too about the rest of not only this country, but also the entire world. You see, the fact is, the entire world loves quote unquote black culture, but they hate and they despise us. They see us nothing more as clowns and entertainers, and they also see us as sex fetishes. I'm gonna throw that out there too. So when people are going around here keying under the table and laughing and with glee because they're going outside of themselves and they're dogging out their nationalities, that's self-sabotage. You need to learn how to love and respect yourself and stop being the opinion of other people. As controversial as he was, you know who said of himself that I am not the opinion of other people, saying of himself? The late Reverend Ike. You can say any doggone thing you want about Reverend Ike, but when he said of himself that I am not the opinion of other people, he said a mouthful. And see, you can't talk to people anymore. You can't talk to people. You can't correct people. You can't even give them a simple compliment because they think that everybody and everything coming their way has sexual innuendos and every man is trying to flirt with them and all this kind of thing. But I'm going to tell you again, and this is real spill. You need to learn how to have self-respect and dignity. Now, granted, there's a lot of toxic females in the world. Too many, as a matter of fact. But one of the reasons why there's so many toxic females in the world today is because they have no self-respect. They lack self-respect. They lack control. They lack self-knowledge. Brother Frederick, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Miss McNeil, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me. So the fact is that in all truth, in all sincerity, and see, other nations know exactly who we are. They know exactly who we are. It's us that does not know who we are. My brother Maurice says the world loves what they can take from our culture and hate us. He's right. It's a sense of confused admiration that the dominant society and those in opposition to us precisely. And other companies and other nationalities are making billions and trillions of dollars off of our ignorance and our stupidity, low self-esteem, self-sabotage. You're right, Sister Alicia. It's very sad, and we do have to respect ourselves, and self-respect goes a long way. All right. Sister Rhonda Justice, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining me. What I'm getting ready to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is open up the phone lines. 929-274-4763 is the number to call in. And for those of you that are on Facebook, thank you very, very much for joining me on this another presentation of the Revolutionary Thinkers Podcast. I'm your host, producer, and creator, Yosef X. And tonight we are discussing the antidote for the inferiority complex. Now, as I present what I believe to be the antidote or the cure for the inferiority complex, am I saying that you're going to be cured of this inferiority complex overnight? No, ma'am, and no, sir. I'm not saying that at all, because you have to continue to hammer away the negative and the false concepts that you have adopted by other people who sees greatness in you, but you have yet to see greatness within yourself. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel like calling in, please do so. 929-274-4763. See? And let me share this with you also. See, there's a lot of popular, or rather unpopular truths that people are really too chicken to talk about and discuss because they're too scared. But see, I'm not scared to talk about this stuff. I'm not scared to talk about this one single bit. Not at all. I'm not scared to talk about this. The celebration of obesity. Do you all realize that they continue on celebrating gluttony in this country? They continue to celebrate not only gluttony, but they continue on celebrating the death and the destruction of our people. Let me ask y'all a question. When in the world does it become popular, or has it become popular, to celebrate gluttony? The lovely Haitian sensation, Miss Marjorie, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And it is quite all right. I mean, people are celebrating gluttony. They're celebrating obesity. And the biggest example, pun intended, might as well be honest, I'm a bit sarcastic. The biggest the biggest situation, or My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. All right. But the biggest fiasco, I'll say, is this this entertainer who goes by Lizzo. She did all of that. The showing of her thong at the Staples Center. That is self-sabotage. That's low self-esteem. Why in the world would she subject herself to the level of whoredom? Why would any woman do that? Why would not only the women, but some men? Why subject yourself to, you want attention that bad? People really want attention that badly. Brother Christopher, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me. The lovely Chi-Chi, good evening to you. Glad you're checking in. Good evening to you, Mr. Reggie. Thank you for joining us. Listen, my friend Maurice put it plainly. Attention is a hell of a drug. And he's right. Attention is a hell of a drug. And we're seeing people who is always out for attention. They thrive attention. They crave attention. They need attention. It's a drug that's stronger than any hard street drug that is out here. The lovely Kristen, good evening to you, sister. Peace and power to you. Thank you for joining me. Think about it. And they are suffering with low self-esteem. There are other ways. There are other ways to get attention and to get the right kind of attention. See? You all have heard me say time and time again that this country is an open sewer, is an insane asylum without walls. Break out the straitjackets. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See? And what's so sad about this is our people, we're dumb enough to prove them right. And you're right. They're dead on the inside, Brother Christopher. You're absolutely right. They're dead on the inside. Sister Marjorie says they're really unhappy on the inside, but portray that they have it. They have all the confidence in the world. Yeah, that's right. Precisely. That right there is what is known as saving face or pretending to be something that they are not. Low self-esteem, the inferiority complex. People have become the opinion of other people. Not knowing that since, in essence, that history tells us, not only history, but science tells us that we are the original life in the universe. Let me read just one more passage of scripture. When the psalmist of, I believe it was, I don't know who it was, who wrote this psalm, when he says of himself, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. The psalmist saying that of himself, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 139, the B clause of verse 14. 929-274-4763 is the number to call in. Those of you that are on Facebook right now, I greatly do appreciate you tuning in with me. Excuse me. Do me a favor, like the video, share the video, tell your family and your friends about the politically incorrect Yosef X, yours truly. See? And I tell you something, I'll share this with you also. A form of low self-esteem, self-sabotage. You got a lot of weirdos. You really do. You got a lot of weirdos on social media. You really do. And what's so sad about it is that these men are not really men. They're males. I mean, how in the world do you have so much time on your hands, right, to actually keep up with what another man is doing on his profile, on his page? Come on. I've had some weirdo that was saying some very incendiary statements about me about 2 months ago. And mind you, this was the same cat that attended my mother's memorial and supported me and my family during our time of loss. And now here it is a year later, and he's accusing me of flirting with married women. He was saying that I was a attention seeker, I'm a simp, and all this kind of nonsense. First of all, a simp is a man who supports the toxic ideology and erroneous philosophy of a toxic female. A woman who is toxic, who has no moral values, no principles, no scruples. Yeah. That is what this cat said of me. Because he himself has absolutely no future, no destiny. And he's on Facebook all day long. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly the same one I'm talking about. That's right. And to make it so sickening, this dude has 2 profile pages. And he's actually talking to himself on both of those posts to make it look like it's 2 totally different people. But people can see right through this dude, and they know for a fact that it's the same person. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I say, ladies and gentlemen, you got some weirdos out here in the world, especially here on social media, that has no life, that has no hope, that has no future, no destiny. Believe me when I tell you, that is exactly what they have. And instead of these cats worrying about men like myself and what we're doing, they need to learn how to focus and zero in on how to be real men. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, man. I've had my fair share of low lives. I've had my fair share of haters. I've had my fair share. I have. I've had my fair share. And it's the strangest thing also. And see, I'm not the only one that's been subjected to such foolery and chicanery. I've been subjected to it. My boy Maurice has been subjected to it. I'm sure my homeboy, brother Dawa, he's been subjected to all kinds of BS too. All because people fail to look within themselves and to dig and to look deep within themselves and to discover the greatness within. True story, ladies and gentlemen. True story. Sister Alicia says, he is human waste. No one wants him. That's why. Listen, I I don't know if anybody wants this dude or not. I can only tell you about Yosef X. Yosef X is trying to strive to be the best version of himself for himself. You know, in addition to him, to myself rather. I'm speaking of the third person. But in light of me trying to be the very best version of myself, I'm also learning to love and honor and respect the Most High first and foremost, and then myself. And nobody else can do this for me except me. I've got to do this for myself because I have enough common sense and intelligence to know nobody's going to do this for me. I've got to do this for me. Miss Sister Nash Jacob, good evening to you, my dear. Thank you very much for joining me. Sister Alicia says, he's jealous of me. Look at you. You're brilliant, you're handsome, and knowledgeable. All praise goes to the Most High. All praise goes to the Most High. And the thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out here too. A lot of times when I do go on the air and I present my arguments, sadly, I have a lot more of you sisters that supports me more so than the brothers. True story. True story. I have more sisters supporting me than the brothers. My messages is not designed only for the sisters. It is designed for both the brothers and the sisters. And it's a sad state of affairs. Sad state of affairs. But it is what it is, nonetheless. Brother Johnny, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. While we still have a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are still open. If you would like to call in, please feel free to do so. Number to call in, 929-274-4763. Once again, 929-274-4763. And I believe you're right. I believe you're right, sister. I believe you're right. It is jealousy. See? But what can you really do? What can you really do? What can you really say? Listen, let me ask you guys a question. Have you all suffered from an inferiority complex? And if so, how were you able to overcome it? What was the necessary steps that you took in order to overcome your inferiority complex? I really want to know. I'll share with you what mine was, in addition to deep prayer and meditation and self-reflection. And it was a process. The cure for the inferiority complex is a sojourn. It's a journey. You're not going to overcome it right away. It takes time. Let's see. Mr. Ali, good evening to you. Brother Israel, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, gentlemen. I do appreciate it. I have been Jewish for 3 years. Excuse me. I do apologize. I kicked my desk. So I am still learning as I go along. Let's see. Let's see. I'm getting ready to wrap things up, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, now is the time to go on ahead and speak your piece. Once again, the number to call in, 929-274-4763. Like the video, share the video, tell people about yours truly. Brother Christopher says, it was easy for me. I gave God my life in 2012. He told me to follow. Yes, Jewish. We are the real Jews, bro. Every melanated person walking the face of this earth, we are the Hebrew Israelites. We are the original people. We are the elect of the Most High. Now, unfortunately, you have a lot of non-Messianic Jews, but we are Israel. We are the chosen people of the Most High. Yes, sir. Brother Sammy, are you just coming back? If you're just coming back, Brother Sammy, welcome back, man. I do appreciate it. She says, Sister Alicia says, I will share it with you another time. It takes a lot of courage. It does take a lot of courage, and it does take a lot of strength. And see, I'm going to share this with you too, Brother Israel. I don't associate myself with a lot of Hebrew Israelites. And I'm going to be honest with you and tell you why. And forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, for digressing. The reason why I do not associate myself with a lot of Hebrew Israelites is simply because there is a hell of a lot more division within the family of Israel than it is in Christianity. When I have gone out and sought guidance and directions, then the truth is, I did not receive any kind of information or guidance at all. Instead, I was ignored, I was laughed at, I was teased, and so when I got through doing that, I told those bastards about themselves and I dismissed them. See? And see, a lot of Israel ain't Israel. And a lot of them, they suffer from low self-esteem also. They're not in the business of trying to uplift the brothers and the sisters. It's about power with them. It's about having power and uh, is about having power over people. It's not about having influence. It's not about being under the auspices of the Ruach Kodesh. It's all about power. Me, on the other hand, I'm totally different. I try to uplift people. I try to give people a sense of self. In addition to knowing who the Most High is, I try to give people a sense of self, knowledge of self. Because to believe in the Most High and not to believe in yourself is oxymoronic with me, bro. And you're getting an honest answer from me. Hey, man, it's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It is all good, brother Israel. It's all good, man. But like I said, I've discovered that I was a Hebrew Israelite 3 years ago, and so to a large degree, a large extent, I am still a babe when it comes to the knowledge as to who we are. Man, listen, I talk to all kinds of Hebrew Israelites, man, especially here on Facebook, you know. There was one camp, IUIC and ISUPK or something like that. But I discovered that those camps, man, they're just as bad as those Christian churches. So I just walked away from them. Plain and simple. All right. Oh, I've developed a bad habit of digressing. Forgive me for digressing, but, you know, just had to throw that out there. But what we're getting ready to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're getting ready to wrap things up. And once again, I thank you so much for joining me on another Revolutionary Thinkers podcast. I am your host, producer, and creator, Yosef X, and tonight we have discussed the antidote for the inferiority complex. And as we prepare to conclude, I want to give the final say-so when it comes down to the inferiority complex on both. I appreciate it, brother Israel. Thanks a lot, man. I do appreciate the invitation. I want to share with you just a few more things, just a final thought. And we're getting ready to wrap things up. I want to say that the truth is, when you discover that you have low self-esteem, aka an inferiority complex, it is one of the most damaging experiences that any man or any woman could ever experience. Because it is years of people telling you you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you aren't good enough. And over time, that poisonous repetition, it plays over and over and over in your mind. And you believe that toxic opinion of yourself. I'll get with you, brother Israel. I sure will. Thanks, man. And it takes years to cure yourself and hammer away the false concepts and the darknesses. Because people see greatness in you that they do not see and have not seen within themselves. Our babies and children grows up confused because they've had parents sometimes to give them mixed signals. One moment they're praising their child, then the next minute they're saying that their child shouldn't have been born and they shouldn't have been around and calling them all kinds of female dogs and calling them all kinds of names, all kinds of derogatory names. And so when they reach adulthood, they have an identity crisis because they don't know who they are. And for somebody that is under the sound of my voice that may be experiencing low self-esteem, an inferiority complex, Miss Monet, Miss Washington, and Brother Darrell, good evening to you. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I want to let you know something that you never heard before until tonight. You are made in the image and likeness of your Creator. You are the original life in the universe. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. And you are good enough. You are smart enough. You are tall enough. You are not now, nor will you ever be, the opinion of other people. You have greatness within you that you have yet to discover. Excuse me, about yourself. Just because people don't see the greatness within you, that doesn't mean that it's not within you. We all have a destiny. It is up to us to fulfill it. I'm here to tell you tonight, you're looking at a young man who for almost 40 years of his life, I grew up with an inferiority complex. And it's taken me some time to embrace myself, to embrace my melanin. And I'm still learning how to love and respect myself. And the same creator that created me, he's melanin too. See, all the rest of these nationalities, their gods look like them. But collectively, we are the only one whose creator looks like everybody else. But my creator, I look like my creator. My creator is the same color as me. I come from him. I am not the opinion of other people. I never have been. I never will be. And it's time for you to believe in not only the Most High, but to also believe in yourself. It's time to believe in yourself. It's time to remove all of the false concepts. It's time to remove all of the lies, all of the deceit that people have told you. You're not pretty